Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Monday Night Lights Live here on Tuss Talk with Ty YouTube. We got to get the – hold on. See, I didn't adjust the camera right. We got to get the ball in the picture. There we go with the red chrome dome. There we go. It looks good now. That's good. We'll work that in. Hey, make sure you guys, as you're hopping in here, make sure you like, share, hit the subscribe button, and tell me too if you could hear it. We've had some audio issues with that on OBS, so I wasn't sure if you guys could hear that. But do me a favor and let me know. Let me know if you could hear the Monday Night Lights Live intro there. Finally got that hooked up through OBS. I think that was the right file. All right. Like, share, subscribe as you guys are coming in. We'll give everyone just a little bit of time to hop in here. This show is I'll give you guys a heads up. There could be some changes in the coming weeks as far as the show's time. Actually, I say a couple of weeks. It could be 2 or 3 weeks. I don't know yet. But we could keep Monday Night Lights live at this time, and then maybe a Wednesday shows at a different time. I'm not sure, but we will have some updates on that. So just want to give you guys a heads up. So again, make sure you like, share, subscribe. There is a Patreon video up today, by the way. Tuss Talk with Ty Patreon video. We get into some recruiting, some Razorback football recruiting for the 2027 class. We get into that. So what else did we talk about on that one? I don't remember. Did we talk about Acuff? Oh, well, we talked about Monteric Brown, former Razorback, getting his extension with the Jags. That's included in that. But again, we also go into talking about recruiting. 2027 class recruiting. We're going to start getting more into that, and obviously spring camp starts this. Well, it's the what did I say? The 15th? Is that when it starts? I think it's the 15th. It's either the 13th or 15th. I'm not really sure. I might have to double check that. Ridgeway got a new deal too. Yeah, I didn't go through them all. I knew that there were some that they were waiting on. I think we're also waiting on Hunter Henry. I can't remember when if he signed an extension last year with the Patriots or not. I don't remember his deal, but there's several Razorbacks. I think Acuff. I just about said Acuff. I got Acuff on the brain. Cam Curl is signed up with the Rams. So I'm talking about great safety. I mean, he was as close to being a Pro Bowler this year without being a Pro Bowler. So also, we have our next auction up for former Arkansas player autographed cards, Jonathan Williams, and there is a piece of fabric worn. We can't tell if that's like part of the S or the R. I don't know, but it's there. Piece of the fabric is in there. It's player worn and autographed by Jonathan Williams. That just started. The silent auction for that is in Tuss Talk with Ty Discord. There's a link in there. If you want it, tag me, and if you don't know where to find it, tag me, and I'll send you the room link, let's see here. So Fishman's getting some comments deleted already. I'm sure that has something to do with baseball. I'm not really sure. Yeah, baseball. We are going to get into that. You could see it on the screen there. We are going to talk a little bit of Razorback baseball. I told you guys we would. I just didn't think it would be in this manner. So, yeah. Yeah, boy, I tell you what, it's something. It's listen, baseball is a tough sport, man, and considering how long the season is, the casuals have already let go of the rope. Casual baseball fans have let go of the rope. Casual Razorback baseball fans have already let go of the rope. They're done. Now, they'll hop back on when Arkansas, maybe if they win some consecutive games, win a couple series they're not supposed to win or something, they'll slowly kind of come back into it. And listen, I mean, I get it. I understand. It's not real easy to be in on baseball. We're going to get to that in just a second. I do think there is some overreacting by the usual suspects. And I'm not just talking Tuss Talk Discord on X. There are the usual suspects that are losing their minds right now. The great thing about baseball, though, is you've got a lot of games to get things fixed. The unfortunate thing is Mississippi State is right around the corner. So you start SEC play. That's next, right? Do they have actually? Let me look at that midweek. No, this is it. This is it. You don't play again until Friday. Mississippi State 6 p.m. in Fayetteville. That's the good news. You get to host the Bulldogs at Baum. So yeah, we don't want to go in too much because it is already on the screen. It is going to be a topic for for a little bit later on. So yeah, and then after Mississippi State, Northern Colorado. Okay, there. We're not going to go into any more. We're not going to go into any more baseball. Hey, Arkansas basketball. I think that I don't know that we're looking at this Mizzou game and what happened in that game. I don't know if we really are, I don't want to say hyping that up, but if we don't appreciate what happened in Columbia, Missouri, I don't know that we're really understanding. Just wait a minute. Arkansas went in there without Acuff, who, got some accolades today, didn't he? So let's kind of dive into this just a little bit. And this is, and I wrote in the title, extremely promising for the Razorbacks. What the hell is he talking about? It's not just that, you went and won. Missouri was and if I looked at this correctly, they were a 3-point favorite. I think it I think on one site they were 3.5 points. I don't remember them all, but I'm pretty sure if I remember, now please correct me if I'm wrong, they were favored in this game, and especially after the Acuff news broke, that shouldn't shock anybody. Like I said, I thought even with Acuff, this would be a difficult game to win, and I was wrong, and I couldn't be more excited about being wrong. Missouri, and I have it down as a 3-point favorite in just 2 home losses all year. Again, maybe I'm missing a third. Obviously, Arkansas would be what I think is the third. Hosting an Acuff-less Arkansas team. I mean, they were outmatched. Missouri was completely outmatched. I mean, think about Missouri is not a terrible team. Hogs led at one point by 15 points in the first half, and it looked like that was going to grow, and then Missouri switched some things around and went on that 16-4 run to end the first half. Hogs ended up rebounding Missouri by 4, not a huge margin, but all things considered, that's not terrible. Mizzou's not a small team. They even had they ended up with 12 offensive rebounds. They ended up out rebounding them on the offensive boards as well. Hogs with more than just one star. That's kind of what we're seeing. And I shouldn't say unfortunately. Obviously, we're thrilled that Acuff played like every game this year besides that one. I really think had Acuff not played some more games this year, if he maybe after his foot he had to sit for like 4 or 5 games, I would love to have seen that sample size in terms of what this roster could have done. But Leak really turned it on in this game. And by the way, they corrected his 28 points. I saw this on X. I went back to ESPN. ESPN had not corrected the stat. But from what I understand, he actually scored 30, which is a season high. And again, he did this, took a lot of shots. I know some people are going to say, what do you expect when you shoot that much? The point is he's going to shoot. Shoot, man, and he's a shooter. So they corrected that to 30 points, a season high. 30 points, 7 rebounds. That performance against Missouri, we just don't appreciate this enough. When you think about how bad Arkansas has been in true road games, now they're down Acuff against a team that is, and I've watched them play at home this year quite a bit. I've watched Missouri play, especially after they got some kind of early wins in the year. I thought, wait a minute, what's going on here in Columbia? What's happening at Missouri? I watched them play. They're pretty damn good at home, man. Beat some respectable teams at home. And Arkansas walks in there without Acuff and really should have won this thing in regulation. Now, Billy Richmond would foul out. We know that Mr. Showles was a part of this. And that's the other thing, too, that we're not respecting here. Think of who was officiating this game. And your record versus that official on the road. Someone's got the numbers. Put it in chat. Put it in live chat. the more you think about this game and Leak's performance, this is extremely promising for the Razorbacks. I love using that word. This is pretty exciting. Now, we got the SEC tournament. We are going to talk about that here in just a second. Actually, I need to make sure I put that on my is it? Yeah, there it is. Okay. We'll get to that in just a second. The Hogs 88. Here's the other thing. The Hogs 88 points was the most, and I'm going to say this again when I make a claim, please fact check me on this. I could be wrong. I looked at it twice today. Hogs 88 points at Missouri was the most home points Missouri's given up all season. And once again, they did it without Darius Acuff. I'm telling you guys, that hype around Leak was for real. The hype around Leak is for real. Absolutely. The more I thought about this game, the more I was like, damn, I want to go live on Sunday and talk about this, or maybe do a Patreon chat or something. Like, the more I thought about this game, it was like, and there was some pretty iffy calls from the officiating, from the crew, but I actually thought they did a good job of preventing the game from getting out of hand. Physically, these guys, obviously, you were afraid they were going to start handing out technicals like candy. And again, when you consider who was officiating this game, it was certainly something that was possible. It was very well. I had respect for the officials, and I know we're not supposed to say that. No, throw the tomatoes at me now, I guess. But I thought, honestly, it could have been a lot worse, all things considered. Into the season stats for Arkansas, tied at number 2 with was it Georgia, I think? Yeah, with Georgia in the SEC for points per game, number 5 nationally. Number 1 in the SEC in 3-point percentage. Shot selection, efficiency, that stuff matters. That's good enough. I was a little surprised by this. I was a little surprised. The best team in percentage shooting from the outside, only good enough barely in the top 20. That was 16th in the country. I guess you could say, yeah, but it's just outside the top 15. I mean, words matter and how you use them, how you want to frame it. But, again, Arkansas still top 20 in efficiency from outside shooting, just the shooting percentage-wise. Number 1 in the SEC in the assist to turnover ratio, number 3 in the country. It's some of the best assist to turnover ball I've ever seen. It is truly some of the best, just smart heads up basketball. And yeah, it has so much to do with Acuff, number 5, wearing and representing that number well. But it's not just him. Right? It's not like they don't have a guy on this roster that's super turnover prone. Ewan has a tendency. Richmond can get a little wild at times, and you kind of wonder when he was catching more minutes, would Richmond start turning the ball over more? Because he can get a little wild. He's real kind of wiry when you watch him play. He's not compact and super heads up with the ball. And at times, Leak is that way too. If I was, it'd be between those two guys, right? If you were a little bit concerned about with more minutes comes more responsibility, right? With great minutes comes great responsibility. And honestly, though, they're not. This team is just not turnover prone. That is a incredible sign of just great discipline, and these guys holding each other accountable. And it starts with the coaching staff. It starts with the head coach. And this is a reflection. Cal still got it, man. And I know last year, that was an Elite 8 team. Texas Tech got the better of them at the end. I'm sorry, but I think Arkansas last year plays Florida. I think they should probably play Florida. I mean, I had you played that game 5 times, Arkansas probably win. I feel like Arkansas wins that game 4 times out of 5. And I wouldn't say that about every Sweet 16 matchup if that were Arkansas in that position versus the winner who would advance. But I thought against Texas Tech was really good. Make no mistake about it. I'm not saying that they were a bad team. They were a legit Sweet 16 team, and they were a really promising Elite 8 team. But last year, that was a great team. So we already had our sign. We should have given Cal, and I think we were really. We gave him his roses. Like, this dude still got it. He didn't leave it behind in back in the 20 teens at Kentucky, because we know in the 2020s at Kentucky, Yeah, he hadn't advanced much. One tournament win or whatever it was since 2020. And to be fair, you had COVID in between there. So we've had a lot of changes, too, to have to adapt to. And he came to Arkansas with a clean slate, and he still got it. He still has it. And you're seeing that with this year's team. Again, the efficiency. By the way, number 2 in the SEC in fast break points. Number 2 in the SEC, and then number 2 in the country. Yeah, Georgia leads in both categories, in both SEC and in the country. Georgia, a really good fast break team. Arkansas is as well. Again, I think Arkansas is more talented than Georgia. Georgia, though, could be a mismatch for some teams, even in the SEC tournament. I really wonder. That is a team. Like, at this point in the year, you do want to see who's playing, who's on fire, right? Like, who's really catching it. It seems like Arkansas, if you could somehow throw away the tape against Florida, that's not my team, as Cal famously said. And unfortunately, we've heard that too often. But it also depends on how far you go in the tournament. Sometimes how well you play at the end of the season, and you just exclude the SEC tournament. It's what you're doing at the end of the year. Certain things, maybe not even necessarily wins, but you're doing some things better. I remember Muss's teams were like that. You could see them kind of morphing into something better, even in some of their losses, and even in some of those losses that were double-digit losses late in the year, those last 6 or 7 games where maybe he lost 1 or 2 by double digits. You could still see something on the floor changing. And last year it was Wagner, it was Brazil, it was Knox, Adu. It was all these guys kind of all of a sudden were just playing better ball. Well, what are we seeing this year? Who's playing better? I would argue Brazil, although up and down, we're starting to see maybe him getting to that consistency that we want out of him. Billy Richmond, right? Billy Richmond has turned it on the last how many games? Was it like the last 7 or 8 games? Late in the year, right? Later in the year. Just he's playing outstanding. Sealy, at this point, I was really hoping would get 8 or 9 high-quality minutes. Didn't really see that, and I thought that he could be an X factor here. Pringle's not playing better. Ewan is kind of there, but then he's not. He could vanish, and he could come back, and all of a sudden you look up, he's got 14, 16 points. He's got 2-3 offensive boards, maybe 6 or 7 total rebounds. He's actually got a couple of assists. He might, however, the more he has the ball in his hands, he's going to turn it over. But he's shown that he can make some plays on the offensive end of the floor. And again, Richmond, I felt like Richmond, and maybe I'm wrong, and maybe other people who really keep a better eye on Richmond than I do might have a different opinion on him. I thought his defense actually got better as the year went on, and he was already the best two-way player, or not the best two-way player in the beginning, but he was the best defender. Then he morphed into the best two-way player on the floor. Imagine if he finds his game on defense. Imagine if Leak finds his game on defense. I'm just saying. Some other promising things. Arkansas, in their first 9 conference games, they scored 775 total points. Again, we're all about, in this show, what is so promising about this team. Their first 9 games, they scored 775 points. If you divide that by 9, that's 86 points per game. The last 9. Now, again, I think in both of those you played ranked opponents. Don't ask me about net ranking average. I didn't do that much mathing. I didn't go into that much detail. They scored quite a bit more in their last 9 games. In their last 9 games, they scored 845 total points. That is 94 points per game. That is 8 more points, and that's a big difference. In 18 games, when you see these teams, when you're averaging 86, and you look at 86 is, it's good. It's not elite. It's really good, but it's not like that elite upper echelon, even though their offense at the time was still considered at the top. The argument that I'm making is that 94 points a game in the last 9, that is elite scoring. What I should have done is I should have compared it to like Alabama or Georgia, but in some ways you look at this, it's like the defense did kind of, they sort of found their place later on. I mean, in that last 9-game stretch, I think they held, 2 opponents under 75, held them under their average. Maybe it was 3 teams they held under their average in those last 9. Unfortunately, I didn't write that down. But again, I'm going to repeat that. First 9 games, they scored 775 points. That's 86 points per game. In the last 9, it was 845. You divide that by 9, it's 94 points a game. Technically 93.8, whatever. But, we're going to round up that little number there. That little guy. Don't worry about that little guy. So that's pretty damn impressive, man. That's 8 points per game better in a difference in just 9 games. So offensively, this is some of the best basketball I've ever watched. It's just unfortunate. And here's kind of a theory that I have about Acuff's defense. I think this whole foot. I don't know how long he's had this foot in the boot in a boot. I don't know. I really wonder. And it's funny because I ran into a guy at Walmart who's been a longtime watcher, listener of the show, and he said, I wonder if these guys just aren't using their energy, the same on defense like they do on offense, or if it's just kind of the scheme of things, when they're such a fast break, a high fast break scoring team, if that's what's going on. And the more I thought about that, you kind of wonder about that with Acuff, because there's times when I watch him, guys, I'm like, he really looks slow off the dribble. He gets beat off dribble drives, especially like halfway through the SEC schedule. It just looked slower. And you did kind of wonder, is it possible Acuff is kind of saving himself for where he knows he could be the most effective, which is on the offensive end of the floor? Because I think early on in the year, I thought he was an okay defender. I can remember saying it in post games, like, I do watch these guys on both ends of the floor. And someone like Acuff who stands out on offense, you're going to watch him on the defensive end of the floor. And it did seem like, man, he's getting worse. What's going on? And then we hear about the boot. So so maybe you rest him. And I think we're supposed to hear from Coach Cal tomorrow, I believe. And so I wonder what the plan is with Acuff in the SEC tournament. I know you guys are probably on board with let's just get out of this thing as quick as possible. And you might be, that can work both ways. You worry about their, man, we suck. We lost, we didn't win one game in the SEC tournament. And you wonder what kind of effect that would have, down the road. But then also at the same time, he's, getting healthy, so maybe that's something that works in your favor. So Acuff, what an outstanding year he had. Let me read chat here. I haven't been reading chat. You guys know I'm pretty good at doing that. It's how this show made a name for itself. We actually interact with the chat. Ty, how do we get a 4 seed? That's a good question, Gary. I think you got to win. I think you got to play for the SEC championship. I think you probably got to win a couple. The problem with that, though, is you play Texas A&M on a neutral floor, because I think it's going to be A&M. I'm just going to spoil it. I think you end up playing A&M. And again, I probably should have switched Acuff wins them all in the SEC tournament, because then we could start talking about the tournament. But I think I had – let me look at this, because I don't want to put it up on screen, but I'm going to. Yeah, so A&M, I've got – I think it ends up being A&M that you play in your first game on Friday night. And then you got to play Alabama. I think a win versus Alabama, assuming it is Alabama, and I'll tell you guys what I think of that, but assuming it's Alabama, pull that up again, that would be obviously a great win, and maybe that would be enough. I think, too, the selection committee's mind is already made up. What's frustrating to me is that Auburn is that they're even being discussed is just crap to me. I'm sorry. They are not a tournament team. But yeah, Gary, I hope that answers your question. I think that's how you get to a 5 seed or 4 seed. Sorry. Again, make sure you guys like, share, hit the subscribe button. You guys know the YouTube just does not like your boy. They do not push the content. I'm still getting DMs. I'm still getting people in my live or in the Postlive chat talking about they're not getting notifications. Again, I have no power over that. The only thing I can tell you to do is just to make sure you're sharing the content, help your boy out. It's really kicking my ass lately, and it sucks. If winning at Missouri didn't get us the 4 seed, nothing will. Fish that. Come on. I mean, yeah, you could. If you make it to an SEC championship, I think that would probably maybe be enough, assuming their minds aren't already made up. Missouri is not. That's not a game that you win and all of a sudden you're going to get flipped from a 5 to a 4. It's just not. And I've been saying that. I mean, I've been saying that for weeks. They're good. They're really good at home, and I understand we can get into the net ranking side of this. But the reason why it's so respectable, again, it's the fact that they are a decent home team, and we recognize that. Fans recognize that. Local media recognize that. Unfortunately, Missouri on the grand landscape does not have that level of respect. Had that been against Alabama without Acuff, obviously Florida, maybe Vanderbilt, one of those, maybe Tennessee, then you're going to get your flowers. And then maybe you could start talking about where they go as far as their seating. Bro, come on. We know it's Arkansas, says Patrick Smith. Oh, okay. I see you're talking to. All right. Thai tomatoes are being thrown. I'm sorry, man. I had to say it. I thought the officials did a good job of not letting that thing get out of hand. They got a job to do. Razorback Pride says every time Doug Shows is our referee, it seems that's the other thing of who's officiating it. Seems tempers get flared because of the calls and lack of calls for other team. It's bad enough when a referee's name is so well known. That's when you've messed up. That's when you've messed up. Like we shouldn't know the officials' names. As soon as you say Doug Shows, everybody rolls their eyes. That shouldn't be a thing, and it is, and that's pathetic. And I cannot believe the amount of people who've complained about the SEC officiating. I'm not just talking about fans, members of the media. Respectable national. I saw someone with a blue check mark and a ton of followers complain about SEC officiating. This was last week. Should have screenshot it. And I was like, God dang, he's right, man. I might have retweeted it actually. But he's right. It's not good when you know the officials' names and everyone eye rolls in the room or watching the game. It's pathetic. But I'll give them their flowers. Could have been a lot worse on Saturday. That double foul play was fair. Brady Lewis says baseball might have lost, but softball just run-ruled yet another game. Yeah, well, the softball team's incredible. Let's scroll down here. Let's see. When Georgia hits their threes, they're very tough to get. Well, I mean, but they do more than that, though. Fish. They're similar to us. That they like some fast break ball. I mean, yeah. If any team, you can say that about a lot of teams. Yeah, if they hit their threes, they're a threat. You can say that about 90% of the SEC. Georgia's just kind of built different on offense, just like Arkansas and Bama. They could beat. Now, Bama obviously is going to take a ton of threes. That's a team you could argue if they get hot outside, it's probably ball game. God only knows what they do in the tournament. Both the tournaments, SEC and the NCAA. Richmond was not a foul machine later in the season. Big improvement. Exactly. Well, I mean, he wasn't as bad, but he did foul out. But you're right. Big improvement is he did get better. I think it's his offensive end. It's what he's been able to do, Texan, on the offensive end of the floor that has just made him special. How is it possible that 5% of viewers don't even think Acuff is a top 3 hooper? Yeah, I kind of wondered what that would be. That is the poll. Acuff, greatest Hog hooper ever. 61% say yes. It's up to 33%. Top 3 easy. And then just no is at 6%. I was very, again, I'm trying to make a poll that you guys could take that at least kind of has us wondering, kind of makes you think just for a second. I'll tell you where I'm at with it. I'll just tell you. I'll spoil it. Yeah, I think he is the greatest. I think he is, and that's crazy to say. Moncrief and Delph and those guys were before my time. Corliss, I grew up obviously with Todd Day, Lee Mayberry, Oliver Miller, Big Nasty. A little while later, But I don't think there's, and that's crazy, is he's only going to play a year at Arkansas, and we're already deeming him the greatest. You're going to have to then compare him. No, you can't compare him to 3-year players. You can't do that. That's not fair. A single year is great. Let's see. Trying to get caught up here. Oops. I hit yes before I read all the options. Gotcha, Steven. I probably would have voted top 3 easy, but I ain't mad at it. Acuff is for sure the man. I think he's number 1. Who has a Wednesday game? Is it Big Blue? Oh, they're so mad, man. Oh, they're even more upset with this Acuff stuff. We can't beat Bama without Acuff. Well, yeah, I mean, no kidding. Ty, I get YouTube notifications every time you go live. Hey, that's great, Texan, but there are a lot of people who don't. Yeah, some people get them. What I'll do is every once in a while I'll log in on my wife's YouTube or my other YouTube channel that I have that I just watch for whatever. And I'll see if I get a notification. And both of those did not. It didn't even get the drop down notification. It's just, I don't know. But again, it's hard to tell exactly the amount, but you usually get a pretty good idea. Hey, if you're just jumping in here, make sure you share the content. Sharing is caring. Hit the like button and make sure you retweet Tuss Talk on X, if you would be so kind. Kentucky will probably be back in Lexington before Hogs leave for Nashville. Oh, man. There we go. I got the retweet out myself. See, I'm sitting here telling you guys to retweet, and I'm not doing it on my end. Not doing it on my end. Doug Shows, Joe Lindsay, Don Daly. We know your names. Oh, man. Yeah. How many games in the SEC tourney will Hogs get Jimmy Dykes on the mic? That's a good question. Try to get caught up on your comments here. Fish, we won't have to worry about Acuff not playing. Well, okay, did they announce he's playing? Did something come out that he's going to play in the SEC tournament? I would rather him not play. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I really, one and done, I don't care. In the SEC tournament, I don't care. Should have been at least 3rd team All SEC, maybe 2nd team. Wait, who? Yeah. This is the first time that Kentucky has ever had to play in the first round of the SEC tournament. Yeah. So, hey, speaking of, how about Acuff and the Hogs getting their flowers? Acuff takes home Freshman of the Year, Player of the Year. Billy Richmond, all defensive team, and Leak and Acuff. Obviously, we already mentioned Acuff getting the all freshman. Leak also makes the all freshman team. It's hard to get, I know someone's going to ask, well, what about, this guy or that guy? Why didn't they get any kind of accolades? It's just, I think there was a little bit of an effort to try and spread the awards around this year. But, I mean, the guys that got all their accolades are deserving. Yeah, but I'm glad that I wasn't shocked that both Leak and obviously Acuff would get all freshmen. Not shocked. If we had said that going into the regular season back in November, oh yeah, by the way, they're both going to be all freshmen. It's hard to do to get two freshmen on the all freshman team is really damn hard to do. And Arkansas did it, but I still wouldn't have been shocked, and I don't think you guys would have been either. All we talked about all offseason was how great these two guys were. How good Acuff was as a point guard. I had people ask me, do you really think he's that good? And I said, well, yeah, I do. I think he's that good. I wouldn't have guessed that he would do what he did this year in terms of winning Player of the Year. Are you kidding me? That's insane. I wouldn't have guessed that. I wouldn't have guessed that he's getting the pody. I said it. I would not have guessed that he was going to get that. And that's incredible in the SEC to get that. That is incredible. Yeah, I mean, he's already got the accolades to back up the argument that he's the greatest ever, right? It's there. It's there. We know. Isn't it great? Does Joe Klein not call very many games, or does ESPN just not want him calling our games? I don't know. I love me some Joe Klein, man. I know he talks like this, and he's kind of old school, but I love it, dude. I love it. I love it when he's on there. I do. Who do we want to see for a rematch the most? Bama, Kentucky, or Florida? Kentucky. I'll tell you right now, Kentucky. Florida whooped our ass. They're going to be favored. They're going to be favored to at least make the Final Four, probably in a lot of brackets, maybe not all brackets. I saw where someone today said that it was going to be another 1 seed only in the Final Four. Florida, whatever. You kind of know how that game will go. Well, I say we know what most of us feel like would happen, but. If I could get anybody though, it would be Kentucky. I would want Kentucky. Mark Rock says no. Wait, no. Ty, no, just saying he will play. Just my opinion. Okay. Yeah. Well, hopefully. I mean, yeah, I'm fine with sitting him though. The SEC really did it. Acuff, they gave him the Fody. All SEC, all freshmen. They honored him in a way, in every way they could. Yeah, it's incredible. Shocked they actually had the guts to do what was deserved. Isn't it great? But hold on, I thought the SEC hated Arkansas. I could have sworn someone was telling me that the SEC hates Arkansas, and there's some kind of they got to boost their numbers, and they got to give the flowers to the right guy. There was just no denying that Acuff is Himothy. Yeah, I thought Malik was going to be better than Acuff. As much shit as Malik Thomas talks in a lot of those videos that you see out there, but he backed it up, man. He backed it up. Leak was incredible. I agree. I wasn't really sure. Yeah, I thought Leak. I would have probably guessed if either one of them, if there were only one of them to get SEC player or SEC freshman or to make that list, I probably, and if you said there's just one on the all SEC freshman list, I probably would have guessed Leak at the beginning of the year. His game just transformed so much. Scott Swindle, what's going on, brother? Hey, man, it's good to see you. Consider joining Tuss Talk with Ty Patreon. I can't wink with that eye very well. I can this one. Not that one very well. I gotta work on that. Make sure you like and share, retweet. Sharing is caring. Share the link to Gam Gam. Gam Gam's a diehard. She knows ball, so you need to send her here. Send the links out. Great minds think alike. I said Kentucky too, Ty. Hell yeah. Maybe that should have been the poll, Fish. Maybe that should have been the poll, man. Who do you want to rematch against the most? I agree. Fishman, have you considered joining up for Tuss Talk with Ty Patreon? Just $4 a month, man. I just put out some content today on Patreon. I'm just saying. Acuff and Moncrief are only two first-team All-Americans. Wait, is that right? Hold on, that can't be right. James Stucker, 69.56, says Acuff and Moncrief are only two first team. That's not right. Hold on. Was Corliss, Lee Mabry, Todd Day, Delph? That can't be right. No, we might need to fact check that, James. There's no way. There's no way we've only ever had two first-team All-Americans. No way. The Sutton years, the Nolan years. Quick, somebody say the Pelfrey years. Somebody do it. Someone say the Pelfrey years. Hey, that first year they got past Indiana, right? I mean, they weren't supposed to do that. Courtney Fortson wasn't first-team All-American? I'm kidding. Please don't. Someone's rage typing in the I can see into the future in the Postlive comments. Yeah. So we do, that is the Postlive XP question. I don't know if you guys are still doing that or not. The last time I told you guys we had a post live for a post live comment, nobody left one. Not a single. That tells me the Discord people are not listening. They just wait on someone to post that. If it's not Josh Garr in Discord posting that he's sharing in Discord his comment for the XP in Discord, I see what you guys are doing. I'm looking at you, Austin. I'm part of that replay gang. No, you're not. Quit fibbing. But that is the post live question, and it is Acuff greatest hooper ever. And you could go as far as, if you don't believe, if he's top 3 easy, then give me the other 2. Who you think the other 2 are? So that's going to be check Discord. Yeah, okay. Well, that's consensus. That's consensus All-Americans, though, right? Is that first team? So is that first team? So Corliss, John Adams. Who the hell? Ron Brewer, Moncrief, Ike Poole, Bobby Portis. Yeah, Darrell Walker, Glenn Rose. Don't know who that is. I've never heard of Glenn Rose. Corliss in 94 and 95. Yeah. John Adams. A founding father of this country. He was a hooper at Arkansas. You didn't know that, did you? Well, now you do. John Adams was a hooper. That's pretty fantastic. Let's talk with Ty. No. The SEC has the conspiracy called the anti-Arkansas conspiracy, where they make damn sure that Arkansas cannot win in every sport other than baseball. The refs can't something hold. I don't know. Yeah. I haven't heard half that list. As Scott Swindle. Yeah. No, I know it. Consensus. I know that, Mac. Thank you. I know what it means. I that's definitely more than 2. I thought it was more than 2. Yeah. Consensus All-American selections are as defined by the NCAA in the years column. 1 indicates first team, and a 2 indicates second team selection. Yeah, well, there you go. They've had a lot of All-Americans over the years, but Kentucky fans will tell you not as many as us. Was it John Quincy Adams? John Q. Adams? Kerper's list has a bunch of BR names before Richardson. Refs can't call holding a baseball. Oh, I see what you're trying to say. That's the biggest issue. Fair enough. Hey, who do you guys? Let's pull up the SEC tournament bracket. Right there it is. Maybe I can blow it up a little bit. Whoop, cover up the face. Who do you have going where? I'll tell you mine. I'll kind of do this game by game. Boy, seeing Kentucky on that first line is just chef's kiss, man. Chef's kiss. Obviously, I got Kentucky over. Is that LSU? That's LSU, right? Yeah, LSU. I can't. My screen. It's man, kind of hard to read there. And then I would take Kentucky. I think I would take Kentucky over Mizzou. And then Florida over Kentucky. In line 2 here for the Vandy seeding bracket, whatever. Auburn over Mississippi. Well, that's a wonderful matchup. Mississippi State, Tennessee over Auburn. Man, Tennessee and Vandy might be one of the better games in this bracket if it goes down like that. That might be. That's a tough one. I would probably go Vanderbilt, though. And then Florida over Vanderbilt, and then Florida advancing into the championship. Ole Miss in Texas. What an interesting matchup, huh? To advance. Give me Texas. And then Georgia over Texas. I think I'm going to take Alabama over Georgia. That's going to be an offense. That's going to be a juggernaut. Offense on offense juggernaut there. That could be a good game, but I'm going to go Alabama there. And then in the Arkansas bracket, which is the 3 bracket there, give me, OU and South Carolina. I'm not going to lie to you. We got a favorable bracket here, man. I don't know that any of those 3 teams on our line, unless, again, Arkansas is just not interested in playing this thing and they rest Acuff. And even then, I mean, if you could beat Missouri on the road, then by God, you ought to be able to beat this entire bracket, excluding maybe 1 or 2 teams. No, 3. If we're talking about without Acuff, maybe 3 teams, all but 3 teams, you should be able to beat without Acuff. But I've got OU over South Carolina. A&M is one of those that depends on who shows up, right? Who's more desperate here, and that's the other thing you have to factor in. These teams are going to play like their lives depend on it. These teams that are kind of floating around, like an Auburn. So A&M, I'm going to put them with obviously playing Arkansas. So OU over South Carolina, A&M over OU, Arkansas over A&M, and I've got Arkansas over Alabama to play to get. I think it's going to end up being Florida and Alabama. Or I'm sorry, Florida and Arkansas. I thought Arkansas was good enough to beat Alabama on the road, getting absolutely hosed by the officiating. Now, that is the other question. Who the hell's officiating these games? Doug Shout, he shouldn't even be allowed. Old Dougie shouldn't even be allowed in the SEC tournament. Just don't let him in. But I got Arkansas over Bama, Florida over Vandy. Or did I say Tennessee? No, I said Vandy. But I've got Florida and Arkansas playing for it all. And I'm taking Florida to win it all. I just don't know that anybody's going to take Florida down. I just don't, man. Someone's going to have to wear them down. They're not as matchup dependent as like Georgia, Alabama, Arkansas. They're not as matchup dependent as those teams are. In fact, I feel like they could. I mean, they've already proven they could beat these teams, these high-flying, high-scoring teams. On a neutral floor, it's a different argument, though, right? On a neutral floor, it's a different argument. Who knows? Maybe Arkansas wants vengeance. Yeah, I would love for Kentucky. And there might be someone that gets an upset here. There might be someone, and I don't know if it's Kentucky. $22 million roster, and I'm not sure how far they even go in this thing. But I don't know if you're going to ask me who's the most upset-minded out of that first row of teams that play on the first round teams that play on Wednesday, who do you think is the most likely? Man, that might be a good Postlive question too. You can answer this one, and we're going to do this I'm going to do it for 2,000 XP. Okay, we just started a new cycle. That's a lot of XP for 2,000. Tell me on this front row, which would be LSU, Kentucky, Mississippi State, Auburn, who's desperate, Kentucky, fighting for seeding, but a lot of teams are. Texas, who off and on have been impressive at times, South Carolina or Oklahoma. Of those teams, I'll say it again: LSU, Kentucky, Mississippi State, Auburn, Ole Miss, Texas, South Carolina, OU. Who is the most likely to make it at least to the SEC championship? Maybe not win the whole thing. You guys tell me. You can tell me now, and then you can tell me later after the live. I'm curious what you guys think of that. I think the obvious answer would have to be the $22 million roster. I don't know. Auburn, I mean, they do have some talent. They've got some playmakers. Texas at times has been hot and cold. You kind of look back on their body of work. Like there are a couple of those teams there, and obviously Kentucky marched into Bud Walton and they beat Arkansas. That says something. Arkansas's only home loss was to Kentucky. So could it be Kentucky? But then you got to consider they got to play Missouri, and then they likely have to play Florida, and then the winner of Tennessee, what I would think would be Tennessee Vanderbilt. Or hell, how many teams off that first round? How many teams can actually make it to the semifinals or to the championship? Like, how many of those teams are capable? I'm not saying like statistically, just capable. We can have some fun with it. I don't really care. You can do that with however you please. Are we sure that Alabama is actually going to win their first game? They lost to both Georgia and Texas recently. That's a good question. I don't know. I do think Alabama is better overall head to toe. But yeah, I mean, they've lost some head scratching games. Like I said, the SEC is full of teams that I just don't know. I don't know what to expect in the tournament that really matters. I really don't know. Arkansas is among them. Too many 14, 15-point blowouts. Too many. Was it 3, 4, whatever? You were no threat to Florida. Yeah, it was in Gainesville. We know their history there is not great, but should have been better, man. Should have played better. Auburn, you should not have been curb stomped the way you were. Georgia, you shouldn't have been curb stomped the way you were. Shouldn't have lost to Kentucky at home. Right? I guess that is basketball, though, especially today. I mean, you're not wrong. That's my opinion, though, Brady. I think Alabama likely ends up playing Arkansas to advance, for those two teams are going to end up playing. So there are 2 post. No, just for one amount of XP, Kerper. I know what you're doing. Oh, so I get 4,000 XP. No, just answer one of those questions. You can answer them both, but you're only getting 2,000 XP. I would probably pick any team in the country right now over Auburn. They all hate each other. Auburn is they're desperate. They're trying to make a case. Pearl Jr. is trying to make his case about some of their wins and some of the things that they accomplished this year. But I'm sorry, man. I think the only way I let them in the tournament is if they at least play for the SEC championship. I think that's the only way, and even then, I think it's I don't know. They may be just talking about like how you feel about Auburn. I mean, they are the Midburn Tigers for a reason. They are the Midburn Tigers. Scott says he's leaning towards Auburn. Okay. Bama losing their last game, but they're still a shoe-in as a 4 seed. I don't get that. Yeah. Ty, I know this is off topic, but do you think the dust-up with Silverfield and loss of his quarterback played a role in Casey Dick leaving? I know some view his job as a better job, but it's fishy. So I have talked with a couple of people about this. What I'm told is, and both these sources confirmed it, and it might even be out there. I'm not even sure that this is anything super secret. He has applied for multiple high school Texas jobs before. He wants to go home. He wanted to go home to the right team. A part of me wonders if this isn't, if it's not cowardice. If he knew now he's without Hendricks, Fayetteville's probably going to be bad this year, and he thought, I'm just going to take whatever Texas job I can get. I don't know. I think he took a good job. High school jobs in Texas are just so much different. When you're talking football, right? Not all sports. Well, probably all sports, really, when you talk about the size and the money. But especially football, right? Any job is, and Fayetteville is arguably one of the best jobs. It might even be the best job in the state. There's plenty of money, and you have the entire city of Fayetteville to yourself. Everyone else is split. So I think it's probably the best job in the state. Because if you win big anywhere else, then you could probably win big in the 7A up here at Fayetteville. If you can win big at some of these other schools, you got a shot at having some pretty good success. And that in Fayetteville's just, they churn out talent. They churn out, talent. Maybe not every year, like, multiple players, but you could look at the history of big time players that have come out of Fayetteville, and it's pretty impressive. At least kids out of the high school rank. Not all of them worked out. Not all of them, when they got to the next level, worked out. I don't think it could be. I mean, there could be something else there that he knew he probably ruffled the wrong feathers. But I tend to believe it's cowardice on his part. I think he knew, like, I just lost Hendricks. I'm definitely going to look for the next job. I don't know. Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe I'm being too hard on him. And maybe that's me with my Fayetteville bias and my NWA elitism. You guys, some of you like to accuse me of having. It did kind of, damn man, why are you leaving? He's a hell of a high school coach. I don't know. I'm not taking it back. To me, it's what it feels like. Just saying. But I don't know that it has. I don't think this was the U of A. Lashing out. Maybe there's some phone calls, between the FHS, the people at FHS and the athletic department and the U of A. I don't think it was that. I think he lost his quarterback. He got mad and he left. You saw his reaction, and his reaction, it was not smart to do what he did, and maybe some of it has to do with that. Maybe he's embarrassed by that. I don't know. I could go on. Casey Dick he is a native Texan. Yes, when given the chance, natives like to go home. I mean, you could look at it like this, though. I think he's lived in Arkansas for a while, Texan, and he's had other opportunities to go coach at some other high schools. But I think he was waiting for a job, the right job to open up. Obviously, he's former Razorback, right? He knows the area. I think this is as close to home to him, almost as much as Texas. I mean, you're not wrong. He's from Texas, and I don't blame him. Maybe he did get homesick, but I don't know why weren't we hearing about this before the Hendricks stuff? That's my question. I hate to admit it, but Fayetteville is by far the best part of the state. No bullets flying by your head there. Yeah, I would venture to say stay away from South Fayetteville some weekends. South Fayetteville could be pretty rough. It used to be back in the day, Yeah, I don't know. Never beating those allegations. Wait, what allegations? Yeah. All right. Hog baseball. Yeah, I mean, we already discussed it a little bit ago. They're not playing good ball right now. I would venture to say, and I had them up on the TV today a little bit, trying to watch them. I don't know. Like, I get the Nate Thompson frustration. The point I was trying to make about John Hawes in Discord, yes, he is the number one Nate Thompson hater. The point that I was trying to make, and it's hard to do. It's hard to just. This is why I prefer to talk about it in live shows than anything. The amount compared to the years before, as long as Thompson's been here and John Hawes and others, it's not just John, and others, the amount of Nate Thompson hate was not what it was like last year because the offense was so explosive. And I don't think at the end of the day, it's strange to me how, and this goes for everybody, not just John Hawes, how we could point out, and there are some fans that do this, well, the coaches can't go out and play for the guys. I mean, I heard so much Sam Pittman defense from John Hawes and others. Well, they can't go out and play for the guys. From what I understand and listen to Dave Van Horn talk about their approach at the plate, they're not doing the things that apparently Nate Thompson wants them to do. That's the gist that I got out of what Dave Van Horn said like a week or two ago. I'm not one of these. Yeah, I would be perfectly fine if they found a new hitting coach. I'm not. You call me a Nate Thompson defender. I'm really not. I did not up until last year. I was also critical of Nate Thompson, and last year I shut up about it. And I do. I think too. Baseball is one of those. It is truly. It's one of those sports where like, man, it is up to that guy at the plate. It is up to him. You can have a game plan and how you want to approach things at the plate from a hitting coach perspective, and you can have arguments with it. I know this much. He's regarded as like an elite recruiter. He made a top assistant coaches list last year, and I remember pointing that out in chat. Like, well, now wait a minute. This, these people believe that he's one of the best assistants in college baseball. People who study the game night and day and probably know it. Put all of our brains together. They probably know more ball than we do, and they believe he's a really high-level assistant. We also don't know how much of this is Dave Van Horn. Maybe it is DVH. I don't know. As far as I could tell, though, it is a problem on offense. And Nate Thompson does deserve some criticism. I have no problem giving him the criticism. The thing though is like when people complain about Nate Thompson as often as they do, to me they're not much different than the ledge jumpers during the football and basketball season. Like you're not any different. You're just complaining about something more specific. And while that's probably more valid, I think it's just more complicated than just blaming Nate Thompson. I played ball. I played baseball. And you know what? I didn't do what my coach told me to do. Now we're talking about a 13-year-old or 12, 13-year-old compared to a 19, 20-year-old playing college ball. But, I'm still the idea of the game still exists, and what your coach wants you to do at the plate still exists. If he told me, I think I remember one game he wanted me to take a walk. The pitcher on the mound was just throwing balls left and right, and I swung at all three pitches. I swung at every one of them and struck out. I was not very good at the plate, man. But I'm not a Nate Thompson defender. This year, like you got to ask, what the hell's going on? What's going on? But there's so much, like they're only pointing out Nate Thompson, and I would argue, wait a minute, why aren't we talking about some of the bullpen? Like it's not been super strong. We're seeing guys, give up. They're not striking out as many players. Now I know that the pitching has been better compared to the hitting, but there's been some, there's certainly been some games where it just seemed like nobody could throw strikes. Letting too many guys on base, giving up too many easy hits and 1-2 pitch hits. So I think it's just kind of all around. I really think right now, I'm not saying they're going to be this way the rest of the year. They're not a good baseball team. And I think the first indicator, it was definitely losing to Arkansas State 12-4. That's probably the first indicator. I mean, look at it this way. I think they lost 4 games at home all year last year, and they've already lost 4. And we're not even into SEC play. You got Mississippi State coming to town. It's rough. But for the people that constantly blame Nate Thompson, again, I think 20, 30% of that is warranted, but then the rest is like, why are we not talking about the guys that are striking out? Why do you not have a shortstop? You've played 2 different shortstops. Neither one of them, of course, one of them is a true freshman. I don't know how many true freshmen Dave Van Horn has had playing at the shortstop. It doesn't seem like he's had very many. Someone told me you could count on one hand. In all of his time at Arkansas, you can count on one hand the amount of true freshman shortstops he's had. They got a problem at that position, and whoever's playing there, it seems like I don't know what you do. Maybe you, I don't know, move them around in the batting order. I don't know. They got a problem there. They got a big problem, but they're not the only position. A lot of guys are just not hitting. So why are we not talking about these guys? In the major leagues, okay, Cardinal fan here. I don't know that very often I hear anybody, especially the fans in that Discord, in our Discord that are baseball fans, complain about the hitting coach, but instead they complain about the player. Why is it different in college? Why is it different? I don't understand that. A longtime baseball fan here, okay? Went to the original Busch Stadium like every summer with my dad to go watch Ozzy and those guys play in the 90s. I've never once heard anyone, after a few years and you want to make some changes, it begins with the manager, right? I'm just saying, like the amount of blame we put on Nate Thompson, I'm just sitting here like, why are we not talking about some of these players? I think what I'm saying is we should spread out some of that, some of that frustration. That's all I'm saying. I don't think it's all on Nate Thompson. However, if they continue to play like they have this year, sure. I have no problem with making a change. Last year might have been great, but it certainly seems like maybe they do need to make a change there. Mac, I see you. Let's read chat here. I'm a NWA elitist. Okay. Yeah. Nate Thompson, launch angle teacher extraordinaire. Yeah, that's all this baseball casual has heard about it. Yeah, well, I seem to remember this being a thing a couple of years ago, and someone asking me, why is he so bad? That's all I ever like. It was something similar. Like that's all we ever hear about is how bad he is. And then the next year you have this incredible season. offensively. It's like, well, where did all the disgust go? It's still there. Of course it is. Jonathan Haas and some of these other people have to have someone to complain about. Someone's got to be guilty. It might as well be Nate Thompson. Again, I think some of it is warranted. I'm not saying that it's all not warranted. What is this? Oh, yeah, that's right. It's Acuff, belt to ass, son. God, that's a good picture right there. There you go, Acuff. You the man. So the spring camp, you know what? I think it's Wednesday when this thing opens up. It's either Wednesday or maybe the 15th. I'm not sure, but it's here. I mean, it's basically here. We are going to try and get some coverage on it. Going to talk about it Wednesday. I don't know what. I'm not really sure what we're going to do on Wednesday as far as topics right now. Obviously, spring camp. It is here, but we don't have enough to really go into detail. Obviously, next week it's going to be all about. It's definitely going to be a lot about spring ball, and of course, we're going to get into the NCAA tournament. Talk about the seeding. I might do a reaction to the selection. I might do one. We might do a live. I don't know. It kind of seems like it one way or another. It doesn't really matter. Like, I'm starting to get over the fact of when you're supposed to do these things. I'm just like, you know what? I might just go live whenever the hell I want. I don't know. But we might do one on Sunday. Even if you don't get a freaking a notification, I might still do it. Just have to pray to the YouTube gods, right? Acuff with belt. That's right. Worst mods ever. Austin Foster and John Haas don't like supporting the channel. Oh, I don't know about that. Yeah. Okay. Well, I think we're gonna put an end to it here. I do appreciate everyone. Again, shout out to Patreon supporters. I really do. I say it all the time, and I know it kind of goes in one ear and out the other for some people, but it really helps channel out. And consider signing up. If you're already a member, but maybe you're a $4 or $8 member, consider jumping up a tier. It'd be fantastic. I'd really appreciate that. We got a question from Hog Blitz. Now that Sam is gone, I have no coach to complain about, just Hunter. Hopefully Hunter is turning a new leaf or leaves in May. Well, I think for starters, I think baseball, even if baseball were to turn around, I mean, I know we're switching sports here for a second. Even if baseball were to turn around, they do something special like make Omaha again, that wouldn't be enough to turn the tide on Hunter's reputation. It takes football. We all know if this year Ryan Silverfield turns out to be an incredible hire and he goes out and he wins 8 or 9 games year one with this schedule, yeah, then all of a sudden we're going to be more favorable, right? I think a lot of people will start to kind of come around. Maybe even Hog Blitz. I don't know. Maybe we all know football is what carries all the water. Football is what carries all the water here for Arkansas fans. And if you turn that around, and I don't know. I don't know if they have enough here to do it or not. I'm not sure. But that is what that's what helps, right? That's what's going to help, I don't know, get people to kind of come to his side a little bit. He can't go to the Little Rock Touchdown Club and do what he did last time he was there. Even if you believe, and there are some that believe what he did was he gave everybody a wake-up call. I have heard that argument, and maybe it's getting people, it takes time. These people don't move in breakneck speeds to get things done, especially when it comes to, to giving money to the U of A necessarily. You got to work out all the details. You got to figure out what the ROI is, return on investment. It takes a lot more than but so maybe that is something he was trying to do. The delivery was terrible. It turned on him, and that's when things got really bad for Hunter, which was after he said what he said down at the Little Rock Touchdown Club. And I mean, he got dogpiled on by state media, everyone with a pulse that has a podcast or whatever, a microphone. Everybody was screaming, at the top of their lungs of their disgust of Hunter Yurchek and what he said down at the Little Rock Touchdown Club. And like I said, there are those who feel like what he did was a wake-up call for those money folks, for the boosters, for the people with that kind of money. And I don't know. I don't know behind the scenes. I don't know any boosters. I don't know anybody that knows boosters on a personal level. But it certainly seems like they have they did get a influx of cash. How much of that was not Hunter, and how much of that was Ryan Silverfield working the money people? I don't know. It's just like with Coach Cal. Nobody gives Hunter Yurchek any credit for getting him here because he didn't. He didn't. That was John Tyson and company. That was someone else, and that's why. Now, I don't know that I buy the rumors of some of the coaches that were mentioned that Hunter was looking at hiring. I don't know. I don't know how much truth there is in that. But I know one thing. He doesn't deserve credit for bringing Cal here. And there's going to be people 5, 10, 15 years from now, I might be dead and gone. I don't know, or I won't be. Maybe I'm not doing this. Maybe I am still doing this. There's going to be podcasts and non-ball knowers down the road. They're going to be like, well, he did bring in Coach Cal. No, he didn't. He didn't. It's going to be about turning around NIL and providing more for student athletes. And I listen, it's great that the women's sports are doing better. That's awesome. Obviously, softball draws crowds. That is so great. You know, when winning is a cure-all, and it's amazing what winning games can do. But, you know, let's see that in other sports. Imagine football if they could win anywhere near, if they could get to 8 or 9 games a year. I mean, you know, the excitement comes back. And all of a sudden, you know, again, winning is the cure-all. Hunter Yurchek is now in better graces with the fans and with the media. It's tall. It's a tall order. It is. It is a tall order. And I don't know. You'd have to pay me a hell of a lot of money to take on those responsibilities. And, yeah. More favorable to Hunter, maybe, but may increase success, helps him land another job. Also possible. Yeah. I know. Okay. Don't forget to leave your comment for the Postlive comments question, which was basically answering the poll. Acuff, greatest hog hooper ever. And then the other one was one last time. It was who on the first round is most likely, you would think, could make a run to play in the SEC championship, the title game. And boy, you got to get through some. I mean, I think very highly of Arkansas, but Alabama offensively is also very effective. Georgia's going to be tough. Vandy and Tennessee are going to be tough. Florida going to be tough. So tell me, either one of those, you can answer them both. Remember, you're only going to get 2,000 XP. You're not going to get extra XP, but there you go. What's up, Richard Baker? We're about to end the show. So again, I do appreciate you guys. Please consider joining Patreon. And yeah, let's put an end to this poll here. Boy, oh boy, greatest hooper ever at Arkansas. 58%. Top three. 34%. No, 8%. I can't believe the 8% is probably Kentucky fans. I bet it is, except Peanut Butter Posse. I think Peanut Butter Posse would say yes. We've had a couple of North Carolina fans. It's been a minute, but we used to have some North Carolina fans come in here and talk shit. Not so much lately, though. So there you go. There's your polls. All right, everybody. We'll be back probably on Wednesday. Don't forget. Now, there is a possibility the show won't happen on Wednesday. Schedule this week is a little wonky. It's a little crazy. I'm going to try and be back on Wednesday, but I will be here for the post game on Friday for sure. So I say for sure. 90% I should be here for Friday night for who I believe Arkansas is going to end up playing A&M. I could be wrong. Let me look at that again. Hold on. Let me look at that again. Yeah, I think it ends up being A&M. I think so. Yeah, I think it ends up being A&M. All right, everybody, that's it. I will see you sometime later this week. Make sure you hit the notification bell. Bye.
Having trouble with your garage door? Problem solved. Call Direct Service Overhead Garage Door Company. We're your go-to team for garage door repair, new garage doors, openers, and more. We offer same-day service. We're always ready when you need us. Best of all, You can book your appointment online or talk to a live operator 24/7. No machines, no waiting. So whether it's a broken spring or a brand new garage door, trust the local experts at Direct Service Garage Doors. Call us today or visit directserviceoverhead.com.